So as we look back at 2021 and all of the hot topics and the things that gossip and entertainment news that's been happening, the number one thing that has been there is cancel culture. A lot of people have been canceled. They forced themselves back in, got canceled again, and the list has continued. Of course, we all remember Elsa Majimbo. In case you don't remember, let me go ahead and refresh your memory. When she went ahead and decided to talk about Kenya Airways and how they went and lost her baggage, and it wasn't enough that she was already annoyed at the fact that they lost her baggage. No, she also had to talk about the fact that that plane was very, very small. And it was just like, her exact words were, when the baggage was lost and everything, and she had been waiting for her bags for 30 minutes, no apologies were issued, and the plane was incredibly small. It looked like a domestic flight one. I would not recommend this airline, to be honest. And this is a time when a lot of Kenyans were like, at this point, tumechoka na wewe, because it seems as if Elsa is very good at airing out her frustrations about Kenya. But when it comes to give Kenya a little pat on the back, when it comes to give Kenya, like, you know, their props and how amazing Kenya is, that's when she's not able to do so. So it seems as if right now people were deciding to cancel her because they were tired of her speaking negatively about Kenya. Honestly, when it comes to this, I think Elsa just has to be, I understand her frustrations. It was, you imagine if you're there doing an international flight and all your bags are lost, and it's because of the airlines. It's not because of yourself. They're the ones who actually went and lost your bags, and there's no apology, there's no nothing. We already know how ghetto our services can be in Kenya. I think the problem is because she doesn't have a history of talking too kindly about Kenya and all of the other amazing things that Kenya has offered her, that we were quick to cancel her. But I think this was like a small cancellation. It was like a mini cancellation. It wasn't like that big of a deal. What do you think?
I honestly feel like in this particular case, it's one of those scenarios where you forget how much influence you actually hold. So Elsa has gone from being a small town girl who no one knows to being an international act who everyone knows, walking on runways, being there for all of VMAs, MMAs, all the MMAs. All the MMAs she's been at. She's been at every award show, either, you know, as a correspondent or just as a person who's been invited or something else. So I feel like in this particular case, it's one of those mistaken identity scenarios where you forget who you are. And for a moment there, you slip up and start dropping names of brands, and then eventually you're just going, damn, I should have thought about that. I really should have thought about that. But at the end of the day, we still do not forget, we cannot take it lightly that she even changed her flag on her Twitter account. At some point this year, she put up the South African flag. And that also irked a lot of people because obviously you are proud of being a Kenyan. You are proud when Kenyans are out there, are being exported as commodities of fame and giving us some credit in our entertainment industry. So every time someone then takes that away from you as a Kenyan, you're just going, hey, I want to do that. I want to be part of that brand, but now you're taking it away from me. You're giving it all to South Africa. How am I supposed to be proud of you and I'm not South African? You know, it's like a combination of issues when it comes to this particular story, but ultimately, maybe we need to let go of the fact that, yeah, Elsa is just Elsa. And it is true. We weren't all on her side at the beginning.
Exactly.
Let's be all the way honest. Not all of us on her side. And now we're kind of annoyed because we went, oh yeah, she can be the next. I mean, she's pretending to be so-and-so. And now she has become her own identity, so much so that she's foreshadowed her predecessor or the person we used to compare her to. So let's be kind on her. She's really just being young.
Well, I feel like if anyone is not being professional with you, you have to report that particular person. Not like you tell like Kenyans, hey, Kenyans, don't use this airline because of my luggage. I feel like that is very wrong because we have a lot of people who have positive things to say about this particular airline. So if you have a problem with that airline and that person who was on duty on that particular day, just like solve it with them, solve it with the management, yeah. And Elsa did not have a voice a few years back, but now she does have a voice. That is why she posted that and it went viral. So sometimes when you do have a voice, use it, but use it well.
Yes. Now someone else, 4 other people at this point who got canceled were the people that were participating in the drama, and that is the Ndichu twins and the Morgor sisters. Now, unfortunately, the Morgor sisters were not even known or public figures, so we couldn't really cancel somebody that wasn't already known. But the Ndichu twins, hey, Eddie and Paul, they were very, very, very quickly canceled after we all saw that viral video that was trending all over social media when they were at a particular hotel and there was physical violence, there was damage to property, and it all involved these two brothers. And at this point right now, they are still under criminal investigation, and it seems as if both of parties, the Morgor sisters and the Ndichu brothers, are both going to be prosecuted. But I think the biggest shock to everybody was just the violence that was being exhibited by the twins. You know, it was too much. It was too much. The gender-based violence that was there against these two girls, no matter what the situation was, what it was, the reason alcohol was involved, the fact that there was so much violence against these two girls, I'm okay with the fact that they were canceled. I'm actually proud of the fact that so many different organizations and brands decided to take their business elsewhere and stop working with the Ndichu twins, because this is something that should be completely like canceled. This is not something that we should be okay with. And I was honestly proud of the fact that there was serious repercussions in their pockets. They might not go to jail, but they're going to feel that pinch in their pockets.
Absolutely. And the person that I'm proudest the most of when it comes to this whole story was Janet Mbugua. The fact that she was not afraid to speak up at the point at which her husband was being accused of gender-based violence. She did not shut up and let it go. She was very proud and loud and said that she defends the woman child first before anything else. And that is difficult. Let me tell you, a lot of women cannot be able to stand up against their husbands, let alone against their siblings. You know, we've seen all the drama, we've seen all the chaos, and people are just mum. You suffer alone in your consolation, but them, they never say anything about you. So I feel very proud of the fact that she stood up for not just her cause, but for the fact that we always associate women with being less than, but in this case, she was able to show her power as an influencer against her husband, which is, you know, tough. I mean, you can imagine how the conversation is going on at home. So I really am proud of her. But yeah, these Ndichu brothers, they needed to feel the pain. And I'm also really glad that they went after people who were able to defend themselves.
Right.
Because it was like, I think it was the Morgor and Associates who then came and defended them. It was their family law, whatever, firm that helped them win this case against the Ndichu brothers, which is amazing. Imagine how many other people that they've done this to, allegedly, and they've gotten away with it. But this time, they sparked the wrong fire, and I'm happy that they did.
Yeah, and in this day and age, I'm happy that there's proof everywhere. Like, if you had someone today and you just like umekana the following day, someone comes up with a clip.
Yep.
They're like, Kathomi, I saw you.
Yep.
This is definitely you. So let us all be careful and let us all stop gender-based violence.
Yeah. This is the time, like, I feel as if Big Brother is always watching, okay? There's always a camera, there's always some CCTV, there's always some type of recording that's happening. So whatever you do in the dark, it will be brought to the light. And some other ones who are also faced some criticism and cancellation this year was, of course, radio personalities Shafi Weru, Neville, and DJ Jom Falme. Now, we all remember earlier in the year when they made some really insensitive comments on the plight of Eunice Wakimbi, who was pushed off the 12th story building by a man that she met on Facebook. And what was really the biggest problem for a lot of people, a lot of the listeners of the specific radio show, was the victim shaming. They actually went ahead and made comments such as that ladies are too loose and too available for strangers, therefore insinuating that the reason why Eunice went ahead and was pushed off the building is because she was basically asking for it. She was too loose. Why did she bring herself to that place to begin with? Why did she go meet up with this man to begin with? And what did she expect was going to happen? It was that type of conversation. And honestly, it was disgusting. It was so disgusting that people could be you're a public figure and you're talking to the public, and they actually had the guts to speak about this on radio. But it was really amazing how not only were they canceled by just like Kenyans on the internet, but they were canceled by their employees. In case you have not realized, those 3 names are currently no longer on radio. I don't think they'll be on any radio station for a very long time. And it's just like, it's the repercussions for such bad behavior. And the good thing is, it's kind of reminding us as well, have some empathy when you're talking about certain topics. you need to go ahead and put yourself in those shoes of the people who are being victims of certain heinous crimes and everything. Someone has literally been pushed off the building. It's not time now to talk about how they are the ones who are the problem. They are the ones who brought themselves into that situation. We need to put that same energy to the perpetrator of the crime.
I absolutely agree and could not agree more. These people were blatantly disrespecting not just the fact that there is an impoverished situation with regard to how culture and society and economical backgrounds can cause you to make bad decisions. You know, we completely agree with some of these factors. Sometimes women do go through to very, very high lengths just to be able to make sure that they get a coin. And we've seen these stories happen multiple times where you'll hear that the girl went, took a taxi, couldn't pay the taxi because when they got to the place where they were meeting this person, the person decided not to show up, or at least they showed up and refused to give them money. We've seen the kind of assault cases that we've heard of where a young girl will show up at a man's house and then she's gone to see one guy, she finds out there are more than one guy, and then they all decided to rampage and go ham on her and assault her sexually. We've seen cases where she was asleep and unfortunately a little drunk and then somebody assaulted her. Like, these are multiple cases which we've seen, and unfortunately they happen every day. Like clockwork. But for these two people, or for these 3-4 people to then stand up and speak against the woman as opposed to talk about the injustice that was actually there, ultimately that was a betrayal for just every gender involved. You know, I felt really bad about it, and I know not just me, a lot of people did, and that's why these guys got cancelled, because it was a public outcry. Like, I have never seen Kenyans coming together to that extent just to be able to get people kicked out of radio or TV or literally anywhere. And kudos, Kenyans. This one, we did well.
Yeah, and whether you have a huge following or you're influential or you're not, I feel like we all need to be very, very careful when we make comments about sensitive topics. Because, you see, they lost their jobs. Guys started talking about them, sijui nini, nini, nini. And people should know that if I don't give you consent, hata ukinitumia pesa, even if you buy me a house and a car, when I say no, I mean no. So let us know that no means no, and yes is yes, and a maybe is definitely a no. So let's not force people to do anything, and let's stop victim blaming.